Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was one of the legendary 7. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Was Put Through Hell and adopted by the right Kage. And also stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over in the making 3 of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Asusuke clan. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what you fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Tobirama and others got in a wave as Naruto ride them straight back towards the village, with the 7 ninja swordsmen helping out. When they arrived, everyone was gathered, seeing that they were informed that they had won. But Naruto allowed the people to bring the dead forward first. As he saw the people crying, they had lost their loved ones, Mei was angry because those family would not get anything. And their family members sacrificed their life. As Naruto saw all the treasures that he brought back, the clan and the civilian head members were already looking at it with lustful eyes. The Hagoromo and Kaguya clan head, they were the most interested in all the wealth. But Naruto stepped in front of them all as he told them that not even a single one of them will lay a hand on it until they were able to provide for these families who lost their brave men and women in this battle today. The people snarled at him, as these people were obsessed with greed, but most of them did not do anything rational to all of this, until the Mizukage stepped forward and agreed with Naruto's statement as the other swordsmen backed him. So with that, the Mizukage named Naruto General, as everyone was shocked by that promotion. As Naruto bowed in front of the man, Tobirama could see that Naruto was struggling with this because after all, he was not a shinobi from this village. But they need to find out more about Naruto's last name to be exact. After all, they heard what happened on the battlefield. As Naruto told him that his family was in Namikaze and they were wiped out, and his parents had moved here. And he was afraid to tell anyone his last name. They sent his blood for testing as Tobirama had Sakumo sneak in there, and the others. Sakumo and the other envoys were shocked to what they saw, as Naruto blood also contained Uchiha in it, Uchiha Senju, and the Namikaze. What the hell? They had to get the reports back to Tobirama, who was shocked when he found out about this. That described the red eyes. There was no Tomos in them, that red eyes, and the hatred. Naruto was part Uchiha, that unwielding amount of hatred. Yes, he was part Uchiha, of course. With that, they have already sieged part of the Land of Lightning already. As Naruto proposed a dangerous mission, he wanted to go alone, but the Mizukage forbid it. As Naruto accepted after a while to go with the others, they were gonna go after the Land of Lightning Daimyo. When Tobirama heard about that, he thought they were crazy. The 7 ninja swordsmen decided to go with this part to test their strength after seeing Naruto fight like that. As Naruto warned them that it wouldn't be pretty, but they still wanted to fight him. And they fought. What a battle indeed. As Naruto didn't hesitate to put each of everyone them down. They were nothing compared to him. When he got serious, Naruto released an attack that would have wiped a large section of Kiri off the map if it had hit the ground. Luckily, he released in the air. Everyone was shocked by his power. But Tobirama knew what he was doing. He was trying to push them away, because when time comes, it will be difficult. As Naruto went home, as he spoke to Ino, he ended up sharing some of his memories with her. As Ino was able to see his stepfather, Yaiko, that loved him despite him not being his son. And his little brother, Nagato, his mother was there as well. Until his father died, as Naruto didn't understand why his father would risk his life for his man. and leave his family like this. But Yaiko told him honor duty. That was what the Uzumakis were about after all. As Naruto was there at his father's funeral crying, as Ino saw everything. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Naruto looked at the group of assembled men and women in front of him, looking at their reaction, as he wanted to understand if they were physically and mentally ready for the mission that they were going to embark upon, something that would be extremely dangerous. It was natural for them to have questions, as the questions started to pour in right away. What kind of strength do the enemy have aim right at? Unknown. But considering the value of the target, expect a large regiment. Many will be shinobi. I will admit, this will not be easy, said Naruto. Security will be tighter than ever. Seeing our recent destruction of Osaka, the enemy will expect an attack, so the element of surprise is already lost to us. Moreover, you want us to stage this assassination, so that the fingers are pointed towards the land of lightning, elite nobles, rather than Kiri. That would imply that we do not get detected on this mission, said Jinpachi. Naruto gave a nod. All of the swordsmen got a grim look on their face. How can we infiltrate this massive operation area? There is no sea nearby, and it's completely surrounded by mountains. Getting in through land will be nearly impossible. They will have their patrols checking. And, as Jinpachi said, we lost a surprise attack. So they will be on high alert. Things will be more hectic than ever been. As Naruto was satisfied to see the commander of the 212 Legion was gazing over the details. He never underestimated the enemy, or overestimated his own power, and that was good. Very good indeed, Naruto thought to himself. The traits of a fine shinobi. The land of lightning is not efficient in signaling techniques, as Konoha or Ozu, or Anbu suggested that the maximum area covered with their barriers, said Naruto as he highlighted a part of the map. Then how do we get in? You're pretty good at Fuinjutsu. Can you make a hole in this wall, Kisame asked. Not enough time without the risk of detection. Barrier team usually changes shift. On a 12-hour base, there's one way that we can get in. The barrier weakest point is in this area. Insertion from this point will allow us to sneak in undetected, said Naruto, as he marked a drop on the map. As all of their eyes twitch. Aerial jump. You do know that none of us know how to fly, like Tishikage and his student, correct? Said Zabuza with a scowl. Naruto-san, we might be strong, but a jump from 25,000 feet, Haku said in a trembling voice. As Naruto fight hard to hide his disappointment, these warriors are the best in Kiri. Their lack of faith in their own power was rather disappointing. Maybe it was because in their village history, a mission like this has never been done before. While he already did a similar mission like this behind enemy line some years before, although he really wished the outcome wasn't the same. I will make sure you all land safely. That's a promise, he said. He was not surprised when his statement was met with silence until Mainjutsu spoke. You have done something like this before, haven't you? As Naruto fought back the flinch. While most people didn't know about his mission records because of Anbu Black Ops, this boy was the Mizukage's son and could access his mission records if he called in a favor. But he had conducted this mission as a Usa Shinobi in the past, denying that he had never done this before. May crush whatever little trust these people had in him. But if he said yes, that would just invite more questions and probing. He was cut off. We'll just have to believe in you, I guess. Everyone, I won't lie and say this is gonna be easy. It's a suicide mission, but this will determine the future of our village and our people. The Mizukage entrusted us to this future, and we cannot fail, said Mainjutsu. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, Mainjutsu had purposely not pushed him, and diverted the question. But why did he do it, Naruto wondered. As Naruto saw the others, their postures became a bit more firm and more confident. Do you really think that we can do this? Haku asked as the others want to know the same thing. Mainjutsu had his own doubts, but there was something about Naruto that made him want to believe in the plan. Yes, something that made him want to believe in him, that he could do this. The fact that he already shown that he cared deeply about the life of his man was enough to make him continue having trust in him. If he's any consolation, I had offered to go myself, but the Mizukage insists that we work together as a team on this. Well, why would you ask for something so suicidal? Haku asked, in a worried tone. Self-sacrifice, to protect your home from the shadows, is what being a shinobi is to me. I wanted to do this on my own to avoid any other lives being put into jeopardy. But, said Naruto, a part of him felt rather guilty for getting him involved in this operation, as he knew that it was going to be dangerous. Really dangerous. Naruto, believe in us. His eyes widened when he heard main jutsu say that, as he heard those words before. For just a tiny moment he saw the shadows of his dead friends. Just like how these swordsmen stood in front of him. Believe in us, Nagato said those words all those years ago. And the eyes of his friends from the S program all looked back at him with nothing but determination. And he made a choice back then, a choice that got everyone killed. Main jutsu saw the guilt that watched over Naruto's eyes when they said believe in us. And then it was replaced as Naruto sealed away his emotions. We leave in 2 days. Get your gear ready, said Naruto. Time skip. Naruto arrived at a memorial stone at the cemetery of Kiri. Ozu had one just like this, different names inscribed on it. As he touched the stone, and he just looked at it. For the past years, all he could see when he closed his eyes was the dead face of his brother and his comrades. But now, he could sleep a little. He could rest at night without the nightmare plaguing him over and over. Having Ino with him gave him some sort of peace. She was the only friend that he made in a long time. Someone that understood him. Someone that accepted him despite all of his faults and all of his shortcomings. A small blush came on his cheeks. He realized something he hadn't before. He liked to be around her. He enjoyed her company and her cheerfulness that cast away his grim attitude. He knew that he was not an easy person to be around, but she never gave up on him. She even had the guts to bash him if he, well, was too much. That is what he liked about her so much. Even if she did not realize it, she was already sealing away the hole in his heart, little by little. Maybe a part of him loved her. Then there was the shinobis of Kiri. The way they look up to him, believe in him, made him feel like the old days had returned. Maybe he could be someone that people depend upon, instead of being the scapegoat of the past. The 7 ninja swordsmen were just like his comrades in the S program in some ways. They were strong and smart, all of them were different. But when he fought by their side, he felt this comradeship that he hasn't felt in years. The way the Mizukage had faith in him reminded him of the way that Yaiko had looked at him. In a way, the Mizukage reminded him of the father that he had lost. These bonds were precious to him. Even if he was a spy and sworn to protect another village, a part of his heart cared about the people and Kiri. And it scared him. Nagato, you all had faith in me and I failed. As he hoped his brother's soul could hear him. For a long time I carried this burden and guilt. It was too heavy, he confessed. His gaze staring into the stone. Father, mother, everyone, I shall always protect Ozu until the day I die. And I won't forget any of you, he said in a promise. A lone tear slipped away from his eye. When he opened his eyes, there was no pain or hesitation in his eyes. But I think I want to move forward with some new comrades, he said. He gasped when he saw the ghosts of his family standing in front of him. But it wasn't what he expected, not any angry glares. They were smiling. Menma, Yaiko said. My son, said Inu, with a kind smile. Big brother, said Nagato, with a cheery smile as well. In this moment he realized what Inu has been trying to teach him for so long. It was not the day that haunted him, but his own guilt that stopped him from moving forward. He looked back at Kiri, and despite what he went through, it brought a warm feeling in his heart. He was home. 3 gentle hands nudged him forward as his family started to disappear. He looked back at Kiri with a new determination in his face, and a hope that he had forgotten for a long time. I shall believe in them, said Naruto to himself. Father, mother, Nagato, I won't give up, and I won't let my new comrades die, he said to himself. Time skip. Tobirama could not stop himself from thinking about the upcoming mission that Kiri was about to launch. It was not that he cared about the shinobis taking part, or the outcome it would have for the mist, but the fact that his only possible son was leading it. For all of his faults, Tobirama could not deny he found Naruto to be a good leader. Still, the risk that child took. Tobirama-sama, you'll make a hole in the floor with all that pacing. Sakumo said with a smile. He paused as he looked at one of his other prize subordinates, who had been sent to keep an eye on him in his new assigned home. If the mist ever knew how many spies they have in their ranks, they would probably execute him on the spot. That brought a faint smile to his lips. Sakumo, do you think Naruto can pull this off? Tobirama asked honestly. He needed a second opinion, so he told Sakumo about Naruto's mission. Sakumo smiled without hesitating. He will. Tobirama was unable to hide his surprise at the swift, confident answer. Sakumo saw his reaction. Do you remember the Battle of Ayajika? Asked Sakumo. That is where you earned the name White Fang. Your bravery that day saved the life of many of our shinobis, although that victory cost us a lot of men, said Tobirama. I did what I could to survive, and make others do the same, but there was another shinobi that played a major role in that victory as well. The first great ninja war, Konoha, and Uza had sent a force of 2,000 shinobi to stop an invasion from Kumo forces. The enemy had 3 times our numbers. It was a suicide mission. We were supposed to hold off the enemy force and perish, allowing more time for our majority of forces to arrive on the battlefield. The enemy had launched a war and blindsided us so quickly, said Sakumo. It was a difficult decision, Tobirama said. One which the Uzukage had to agree with. Fortunately, we won that day. Sakumo did not make the difference between Naruto and this man. Tobirama would sacrifice 1,000 of his shinobi without hesitation if it meant protecting Konoha. But Naruto would stand back and fight till his last dying breath to protect his shinobis. What you didn't know was, Naruto was in that battle. It was his plan that carried us to victory. What? I thought Danzo was the one to lead our forces properly. I had given him command of the forces, Tobirama said sharply. Sakumo gazed hardened. If that brat had led the battle entirely, I would have been dead. So would our entire force. He wanted us to confront the enemy in open battle. He was callous and eager for glory. He specifically placed the Uchiha and Uzumaki shinobis in the vanguard, and he was leading us into a trap where the enemy would surround us and butcher us, the last man, Sakumo said bitterly. Tobirama grit his teeth as he heard the hidden truth. He knew that Sakumo would not lie about something like this, but the fact that he kept silent about it suggests that he had other reasons. He allowed the man to continue. The man, all of them, were so close to revolting, especially the Uchihas who thought that this was your way of getting rid of them. The Uzumakis were of the same belief. Danzo made things worse because he questioned the Uzumakis' alliance between the village and the Uchiha loyalty. The only reason why the Uchihas didn't mutiny was because of Kagami and his loyalty to the village, and the Uzumakis were kept in check by their leader, a shinobi from the S program, said Sakumo. The second Kage had taken a seat as these revelations were brought to his notice. It was no wonder why the Uchihas became so edgy after that battle. To think his own student, Danzo, had pushed the Uzumakis and the Uchihas to this limit. It is true that Madara betrayed the village, but the Uchihas, they did not. They stayed loyal and Madara paid for his treachery with death. You have needlessly ostracized the Uchihas by creating the police force. If not for this war, your plan that restricted the Uchihas to stay in the village and take less and less a part of this war, your students have inherited your will and your fears. Someday, it may lead the village into darkness, Sakumo said. Tobirama clenched his fist tightly. Fortunately for us, said Sakumo, Naruto was there and he took command when Danzo was injured. He led us to victory through his tactical thinking with minimum losses. Even though we couldn't stop the enemy completely, we were able to stop their invasion and inflict serious damage. Why did you keep this secret from me? Tobirama said in a cold tone. It was Naruto's wish. Tobirama was stunned by that revelation, but he allowed the man to continue. He had seen the discord in our forces. Danzo was commanding from the rear, leading the man right into the trap. I was out in the front lines where I got injured. I was taken back to the medical tent where I found an Uzumaki secretly leading our troops. He did not let the troops know that command was hit, and most of the commanding officers were dead. His actions saved our forces from total massacre that day. He then used the forest to lure the enemy into a trap. Before the battle had even started, he had already surveyed the forest completely. He used the caves across the forest to launch kamikaze attacks, one after another, cutting down the enemy numbers. He used the forest as a shield. With them trapped inside, he took a week to take them down, one after another. During the entire time, he kept up the act that Danzo and the leadership was still in command, and no one knew that they had abandoned the man on the field, and everyone kept on going. The enemy realized that they were losing too much, so they decided to retreat. Sakumo's declaration had opened up a lot of problems for Tobirama. Why was Danzo hailed as a hero? Why did you officers not report this to me? Tobirama said, anger seeping in his voice. It was a time of war. That victory bolstered our men, their confidence. If they had realized the truth, Naruto made us swear as our duty and our honor to keep that secret to make Danzo take all the credit for what he did. And most of the officers were afraid that you would reprimand them for reporting against one of your prized students. They were wary of you, Tobirama-sama, said Sakumo. But Naruto couldn't be more than 11 or 12 when that battle took place, Tobirama said. A true ninja protect from the shadows, he said. That victory united various clans in the village. It even strengthened our alliance with Oza. It brought our shinobi closer. Naruto understood that more than anyone else. Even at that tender age, he thought, like Hokage, we entrusted everything to him, and he carried out his duties without expecting anything in return. He's a fine shinobi, Lord Second. Have faith in him. Sakumo insisted. Tobirama didn't say anything as Sakumo left to get him some tea. It was true that he was always wary of the Uchihas because of his past, A part of him detested them for killing his brother. Unlike Oshirame couldn't let go of the past so easily. His eyes widened. It was the exact same way that Naruto thought. Just like how Tobirama still detested the Uchihas for killing his brothers, Naruto detested Kumo for killing his brother. He had tolerated Oshirama witch, but he never fully trusted the Uchihas. Maybe he had passed that on onto Naruto as well. He had been so aware of the boy and his hatred, but he failed to see the good in him. Maybe a part of Naruto was consumed by hatred for the brother that he lost. But unlike Madara who betrayed his home, this boy was still fighting in the shadows. He was a true shinobi. Maybe I was wrong, elder brother, Tobirama thought. Time skip. As Naruto was standing at training ground, his sword was in his hand as he closed his eyes, as he could feel the animals, everything around him. If he focused hard enough, he could feel the nature energy fluctuating itself. He had not forgotten how his blade had consumed his power due to his rage. He did not feel a drain in the battle, but afterwards, he felt it. The fact that he had puked blood was a serious issue. Something that he kept away from everyone, including Ino, because he had to figure it out himself. Even though he had to fight off the attempt, as a weapon wanted to latch onto his truck and it work. It was acting like a parasite trying to bond with his hosts, perhaps even take over in the passage of time. A power like this couldn't have been created without some foul ritual. It was too unnatural to be created without that. So there was only one way to measure the danger that his weapon posed to him. As he created a clone who nodded back, he was gonna jump in for aid if things went out of control. As Naruto allowed his control to fade away, and he gave himself into Muramasa. He gave himself completely to his blade. He was not surprised when the image of his deceased family flashed in front of his eyes. He watched him laugh with him. In this vision, he seemed to be a Jonin, and his brother. Everyone was fine. As they laughed with him, he knew that this wouldn't be easy, and it tested him as their deaths plagued in front of his eyes one after another. He saw his father jumping over the explosive to save his comrades. He saw his mother stepping in between his sword aimed at him. He saw his brother getting butchered in a shower of rocks. Then came his friends, his bonds, and the emotion, the development between them, followed by their gruesome death. When he did not break despite the painful visions, they shifted towards Kiri. Muramasa bombarded him with the image of all those he held dear. His eyes widened when he saw Kiri was burning. Nearly half of the village was in flames. Entire streets filled with dead bodies. It was like an invasion on stage that wiped out a large chunk of the population. Anger surged through him as he saw a man in dark robes slaughter two Jonins that got in his way. The man's face was covered by a rope of mask that was red in color. He was leading an army of shinobi with an unknown armor, a crest on their armor that he did not notice. As Naruto charged after them, by the time he arrived to their destination, they were at the Kaguya district. He saw dozens of white-haired men and women lying dead in houses, on the streets, dead everywhere. He had never truly cared about the Kaguyas, but this was terrible. The way their wounds were inflicted on them clearly showed that these people wanted them to suffer before they died. He gritted his teeth as he saw that masked man enter the hall, where the clan gathered for meeting or celebrations. A handful of Kaguya guards tried to stop them, but they were slaughtered. As he ran after them, all of the Kaguyas were dead everywhere. It was a massacre. He heard fighting up on the overheads as he made his way off. As he stopped, while these enemies looked human, their uniform and armor wasn't like anything he had ever seen before. Were they warriors of a new nation or one that was destroyed in the past? What the hell was Muramasa showing him? As he watches the masked man rip a door off, with 24 Kaguya children hiding under tables in closets. As Naruto had seen some brutal things but nothing could prepare him, and the masked man stepped in the room and slashed open a 5-year-old boy's throat. A vial rose up in his throat as he watched. They were mercilessly slaughtered. The children cried as they begged him for mercy, but he just slaughtered them one after another. Naruto tried to move, but he found himself stuck by some invisible force. Each second another child was struck down. As Naruto could feel something off about the shinobi, he was in agony, but he still slaughtered every one of them. Naruto collapsed to his knees when another child was killed, the final one. Lord Flash. He blinked when he heard the man chanting, Lord Flash, they said. The man then turned as everything went quiet, as the man locked eyes with Naruto. As Naruto saw cold red eyes looking at him. Wait, those are his eyes. The man reached up and removed his mask to show. Naruto blinked when he saw his own face. His red eyes had lost all innocence and mercy. His face showed a man that has been through hell. A broken gaze. Someone that lost faith in humanity, that lost faith in everything. Fulfill your destiny, Lord Flash. The man said to him in dark words. As Naruto looked at this version of him, this was not who he was or who he wanted to be. He had done several messed up things in his past for his revenge. and his mission, and they brought him a lot of pain and suffering. He wasn't a hero like his father or little brother, but he didn't want to be a monster. He was Naruto Namikaze of Kiri, and he was Minato Namikaze of Uzu. And he would not fall to this blade as the vision started to darken as he started to overpower the blade. It protested, trying to show him other images, but Naruto pushed against the blade as all those images were knocked away. When Naruto opened his eyes, his clone had poofed away due to the distress that the original went through. His gaze looked towards the blade. The sword was burning up, but instead of a red aura with hatred and anger, it was blue, calm and steady. And the sword was not trying to consume his life force. Instead, it was aiding him by giving him more chakra that was stored. He understood something today about his weapon. He just had to make sure that it worked with him, for to understand who was the master and who was the blade. As Naruto decided to make his way through the village, as he was making his way, going past the training ground, he saw Mei, as she was currently surrounded by 400 ninjas. Meanwhile, Mei was having a heated argument with 400 ninjas as they surrounded her. But then something flashed in front of her. When their vision cleared, Mei saw a man standing in front of her with a white Hiyori. Lord Seven, she whispered. He was holding a kunai. She had barely seen it flying towards him before that flash happened. Apparently, the hunters knew him as well. Scatter, one of them said. They all flashed away in the blink of an eye. Bullies are really annoying, aren't they? He said as he looked towards me. You shouldn't have intervened, she said. I was about to handle them. Sorry, I thought. Never mind, he said. As he scratched the back of his head, Mei couldn't help but notice that real Naruto was quite clumsy and cheapish. There was no doubt that he was extremely powerful, but standing beside him gave her a sense of peace and calm. A peace that she only felt to their family. Maybe it was because that he accepted her, even though she was a Jinjuki. People might start hating you if you continue to take my side, Lord Seven, she said. Then that's their problem, said Naruto. She blinked in surprise at his honesty. We only live once. It's better to live on our terms, as much as we can. She couldn't help but smile at that simple but true philosophy. You were trying to meditate in order to better control your powers, weren't you? Yes, she said. It's scary when we have to fight our own self. It's one of the toughest battles. The way he said it, it's like he's been through that before. Lord Seven, please call me Naruto when we're not in a mission. It's already embarrassing enough, he said. Well then, Naruto, she said that smile. I wanted to thank you for making me stay in the 5% first. I got the conscription letter today. You're a fine shinobi, me. I need people like you if we're gonna win this war, he said. Still, I want you to know that I'm grateful for your faith in me, which is why I want to make myself stronger. I couldn't help you much during the last battle, but this time, as he gave her a nod, as he appreciated her resolve. I'm going on a mission soon, he said, as he pulled a ceiling tag. She figured that this was not an ordinary mission as he had a grim look in his eyes. He offered the ceiling tag. I may not return. It was a reality that everyone had to deal with, even me, but the thought of losing him, it was something that troubled her deeply. Focus on your meditation and place the seal upon your body. If the beast tries to take control, this will stop it, said Naruto. Why would you go so far from me, Lord Seven, she said, as she respectfully accepted the seal. He smiled as he looked in her eyes. You know why, he said. Her eyes became moist. He understood and respected her devotion to the village. He was not afraid of her or the beast within her. Beside her father, he was the only other one that had faith in her. Your path may not have been easy, but you have a strength that most people would never achieve. Someday the people will realize and respect the shinobi that you truly are. Most importantly, me, you're not alone, he said. He gave her a parting nod. As he turned, a lone tear slipped from her eyes. Thank you, Naruto, she said, with a small blush on her cheek. The future must stay bright. I leave the village to you, Mei. As he was gone, the blink of an eye. She didn't know what mission was going on, but it worried her. The way he spoke. He was the only one besides her family that treated her like a human being, respected her, and had faith in her. It would break her heart if something were to happen to him. You are the future of this village, Lord Seven. We cannot lose you, she thought, with pure determination. Time skip. Naruto stood in his bedroom as he examined the gear that was spread across his bed. 4 different scrolls containing kunai, shurikens, and the explosive ones. Beside that was a med kit, a sturdy pair of rope, and another scroll with a sealing tag, as well as his custom gear. Another change was he wasn't going to be carrying Muramasa in this mission. Just like the other swordsman will be leaving behind their infamous weapon and carrying a standard blade. It would reduce their power, but the main objective was to break the line of lightning. That would never happen if Kiri was found out to be behind this assassination. After all, they wanted to pin it on the upper head. He was carrying his sword from his Anbu days. The fact that he could channel chakra inside of it was a bonus. It was light and very sharp. He also written a will, in case something happened to him. It was a possibility after all. Previously, he had written to have his wealth be distributed, and his assets, to the orphanage of Ozo. While that still existed, all of his wealth that he had earned in Kiri, he put Ino as a beneficiary, and suffice to say, given his position as his envoy records, and not to mention him being one of 7 Ninja Swordsmen, it should be enough to make her not worry at all. Satisfied as he placed everything away. Tomorrow was the mission. Just as he finished, he heard a soft knock. "It's tomorrow, isn't it?" "Yes," said Naruto. Ino nodded as she went out. She came back a moment later with a wooden box in her hand. "Open it," she said. He nodded. He blinked in surprise when he saw what she had gone for him. His hand picked up one of the custom-made kunai that was placed in the box. Unlike the other kunai, this one is different. It had 3 blades instead of 1. While it was a bit heavier, its handle was made of fine leather that was easy to hold. A weapon like this could only be crafted by the chief blacksmith of this village that created his blade, and his services was extremely expensive. Even most Jonin could not afford to buy his weapons. Ino had brought 2 dozen designed for him. 2 dozen of these special kunais, as he saw the other box on the table. He lowered his gaze at the gifts that he had for her, pale in comparison to this. "Is it not good?" she said. "I'll bring something better if..." He looked up in alarm. She was about to take his silence the wrong way. "It's perfect," he said. She felt a great weight lifted off her chest. Watching him smile at her had warmed her heart. Getting these kunais was not an easy task for starters. The blacksmith had refused her a few times when she went to visit him. Only when she revealed her full name did he fully accept the offer. But he did not change his rates. Still, she enjoyed his reaction when she introduced herself as Ino Namikaze. That memory made her blush. It was the first time that she acknowledged being his partner from her heart instead of her mission. Something had changed inside of Naruto, she could say it, even if he didn't say anything. He has always been considerate about her, but in the past few days he has been more than that. He also took her out for outing and dinner, even when she insisted that he didn't have to. And the fact that he took her to her most favorite place in the village showed her that something had changed. "I also want to give you something," he said quietly, as he brought her to her thoughts. "You don't have to," she said. She did not give him this to expect one in return. "I'm really grateful for all that you've done for me. It might not seem much in your eyes, but it is for me," he said. "Although I doubt my gift will be as good as yours." As he went into his smaller drawers and produced a fine diamond necklace, as she looked upon the Namikaze marking on the necklace, "It belonged to my mother. I want you to have it," he said with a smile. "Naruto, I can't," she said. "This is a part of your family, and I'm not one..." She paused when she saw his eyes. Nothing but endless love and affection for her. It brought tears in her eyes. He started to apologize, but she silenced all of that by kissing him right on the lips. He stood still for a moment, before he wrapped his arms around her, and giving to the gesture. When they finally broke apart, she looked in his eyes to make sure he knew what he was doing. This was not the way he wanted to go about things, but he had to confess. "You're very important to me, Ino," he said. "I remember the day that we met. I nearly told you to mind your own business," he said apologetically. "You were an ass back then," she said. "Still a bit at the moment," she said, as he smiled back. A warm, heartful smile. "Still, you're a stubborn woman. You made sure to keep me focused and stable. You took up responsibility for the both of us, without expecting anything in return. You comforted me during my nightmares, even when I disrespected you," he said, as you remember those bad memories. It was the earlier days of their partnership when he was worried of her. She had tried to comfort him when he was having nightmares, but she got warned and stayed away from him. And also, they nearly came to blows. "Things were different back then. You had been through a lot," she said. But he shook his head. "My crimes are mine, but I'm trying to say that you never gave up on me. You supported me, cared for me. Despite not knowing me, you allowed me to make peace with my past, to make peace with myself. Because of you, I've hoped for a future that I'd never seen before. And I want you to be a part of that future," he said. "Naruto, what are you..." He looked at her with a smile, his cheeks kind of red. "I love you," he said. He didn't look away, despite her eyes widened and her cheeks red, her lips trembling. "One more time," he said, as he repeated that in his mind over and over. He wanted to look forward towards the future instead of thinking that he didn't have one. She lowered her gaze as a few tears fell on the floor before she pulled him to a hug. "Took you long enough, idiot," she said, her voice teary, as he pulled her into a warm embrace. As he felt that hole in his heart was being filled up. Time skip. Ino slowly opened her eyes. She grumbled when she felt the warmth beside her was gone. She blushed as she remembered the memories of last night. It had made her sleep through almost the entire morning. Her gaze fell upon her partner who had finished dressing up for his mission that would be ready for tonight. She watched him move around. He moved around silently not to wake her, to make her get her sleep. Before he checked himself off in the mirror, her breath stopped as he activated those red eyes that resembled the Sharingan so much. He practiced this strange advanced science at speeds that was impossible for her to follow. What happened next baffled her. "So this is how you're gonna make sure that eardrop succeeds," she said. He blinked as he looked towards her. As she was lying there, she was wearing a single thing on her. He had to control himself as the night memory came back. She smirked upon seeing his reaction as she walked towards him without any shame. "This jutsu belonged to my little brother," he said. "Nagato," she said, as she remembered the name of his little brother when they were talking about him. "He was a better shinobi than me. I can barely master a portion of his jutsu, but he could do so much more. He could have done so much more." "Naruto," she said. "Finally, after so many years, I will get the chance to avenge my little brother. To kill the man whose ambition led to his death. Revenge won't give you peace," she said. "So this is a Senju without fire," said Naruto. "Hoshirama, even while dead you still haunt this world with your mistake." "What?" she said. She never knew that he thinks so bitterly of the first Hokage. Even dead, he still lived on through you, and those who carry as well. "But he was wrong," said Naruto. He gave her a kiss as he made his way. That just made her remember what Tobirama said to her when she was placed on guard duty. The Namikaze clan is extinct because of Kumo. His parents and siblings are dead because of the ambition of Land of Lightning. His comrades were butchered by the very same nation in front of him. He carried all the hatred of the Namikaze clan, his family, his brother, all of his comrades, and he would use that hatred to strike the Land of Lightning, for that is his ninja way. Time skip. When Naruto reached the operation area, he was not pleased. There were supposed to be him, including 6 other skilled operatives, but there was 7 of them now, and he was not a part of the number. Despite all of them wearing their masks, he could tell that it was Meitarumi. As Mainjutsu sensed his ire, he stepped forward as he handed Naruto a scroll with the Mizukage stamp on it, as he sent a glare towards me. This was too risky. He opened the scroll as he read what the Mizukage wrote. "Your backup plan." Those 3 words had sent everything into chaos. "I have filled her in on the plans, per the Mizukage orders," said Mainjutsu. As Naruto looked towards him with a harsh glare. "This is a mistake." Mei was heartbroken on hearing those words, but she did not back away as he marched towards her. He was not angry, he was furious. "I don't know how you play on Mizukage fears, but you crossed the line here with me. Your presence has put the entire operation at risk." As he placed the seal on her and activated, that would keep her power in check without him giving the authorization for her to use it. "The village cannot afford to lose 7 of his best warriors in one mission. I'm here to make sure that all of you return back alive." "Naruto," she said. "That is commander for you, and you will not use your powers unless I say so. You will not disobey me, or I will kill you," he said. Mei gulped as those red eyes looked towards her. "She might come in handy if we're in deep shit," said Imurai. "A Jinjulki is an open target, and one which can be easily identified. Kumo will already have her marked, and be known to all fish shinobis," Jinpachi said. "But the same could be said for us," Haku said. "Enough! We improvise," said Naruto. "That is how the Black Ops function." They all fall into line, as Naruto gave Ninjutsu a nod, who flashed 2 hand signs. Summoning Jutsu. He summoned forth a large eagle that looked back towards him. Ninjutsu hopped on top of it, and took what could be called as a pilot's seat. "Use chakra to keep yourself seated and make no unnecessary movements, or you will fall to your death," he said. When his red eyes confirmed that each of them attached himself with chakra, he nodded. "Cover your eyes because the skies will be violent tonight." As planned, all of them placed on their combat glasses, including me. He sighed in relief she had the same gear as them, as he was afraid that she would be sent in unprepared. "Our hearing will be limited up there, and included in the jump, so we must all focus on hand signs. Repeat them all," as he was very pleased to know that all of them mimicked them perfectly. Mei did not falter. "Check your gear and your supplies." Everyone who ran one last check. One by one they gave him a thumbs up. "Alright, launch," said Naruto. Mainjutsu gave the bird a signal, as the thing flapped its wings. Mei glanced down, as they were already high up in the sky. She felt a hand on her shoulder, as she saw Naruto looking at her. He was really not happy that she decided to come on this mission with him. He was worried about her life, she could tell that. But he has taken responsibility, and she was no under his command, and he would protect her no matter what. She did not look back down as she stared ahead at her. Time skip. 10 hours later. Zabuza grimaced as another strong ear slammed into him. It was cold up here. Intensely cold, all they could see was clouds. Haku let out a loud shriek as the clouds released a lightning strike. As Amirai laughed, even though she was also shaking, Mainjutsu could not really see anything. Even his summon felt uncomfortable flying in the midst of 25,000 feet. And also the violent storm and the heavy rainfall. Mei was shivering from the cold. It was more than she expected and she could hardly breathe. She glanced backwards as she saw Naruto standing at the edge of the bird, his gaze nonchalant as he looked down. She could not understand what kind of hellish training he went through to be so calm. He turned towards Haku as he raised his hand, as he gave her a single seal. Haku got up as she flashed through hand signs. Wind release, wind rotation as he created pockets of air around each of her comrades' faces. She also left behind a minute open of air for the containment air to be released and refiltered. His teammates relieved a sigh of relief as he could probably breathe again. He gave them a hand sign as one by one they got up, sticking their feet to the bird using chakra. As they all placed a hand on their shoulder, giving him proper salute. As he could see that Mei was terrified, but she trusted in him. And he saw the S program members, all of his comrades looking at him back. He dismissed those thoughts, his eyes linger on Mei, as he flashed through the hand sign that was made by his little brother. All of them felt a strange feeling enter their body. As Naruto looked down, they were at the perfect height to jump, the barrier that was down 1,000 feet. It was time. He gave a nod, as Mainjutsu did not blink as he jumped off the bird. Zabuza was next, followed by Kisame and then the others, until it was Mei and him alone left. A lone tear fell from her eyes, her hands were trembling. Naruto gave her a nod as she jumped off. She immediately regretted what she did, as she was falling. She could not see the bird, or see Naruto. Rain and strong winds smacked against her body, as she kept her heart from exploding. She saw Kisame pointing downwards, as she forced herself to fall faster. Soon enough she saw all of them and their silhouettes, except for the commander. Jinpachi created a water rope and threw it. The first one to catch it was Mainjutsu. He then flew towards Zabuza as they went round and grabbed each other until they were in a circular formation. Zabuza yelled something with a crazy grin on his face, but no one could hear him because of the rainstorm. He was asking to make room. Jinpachi understood the signal when Zabuza gave him by hand, as he made room as the commander appeared in the center, except he had large, black chakra wings on his back. The chakra that he had pumped into them came on their back as large black ash wings. Mei felt herself slowing down as the wings started to flap. Ash release, multiple wing formation, said Naruto's hands locked together. Blood freely flows from his nose and eyes, but he did not falter as he took full control over their descent going down. At this reduced height, they felt the barrier approaching as Mainjutsu gave Amirai the signal. She flashed through hand sign, lightning release, rain of death, as she summoned a great amounts of lightning that fall from the clouds, striking the barrier at multiple places. Zabuza and Kisame brought the rain down as the water increased and slammed all over the barrier. On a storm like this, it will be hard to differentiate water lightning strikes that were filled with chakra with a normal human chakra signature, as they suppressed their chakra as much as they could as they breached through the barrier. All except for the commander, who threw a 3-pronged kunai that was called by Mainjutsu. As Naruto stood in mid-air as he lowered their descent, they were still 1,000 feet in the air after all, as Naruto was still using maximum chakra so that he could control their wings, and if he breached right now they would surely detect him. The team finally hit the ground in a painful grunt, but they were fine as they got back up. A bright yellow flash as Naruto appeared and took the kunai out of Mainjutsu's hand. As Naruto dropped towards the ground, 2 fingers touched the ground. Everyone went silent, waiting. Successful breach, said Naruto. They all released a sigh of relief as no one was coming for them. Showtime, boys and girls, said Naruto. Time skip. The storm was getting worse. The group was currently in a cave. They could not venture out. The commander ordered them to bunker down for now and await further orders from him. Oi, isn't the commander a bit too edgy lately? Amirai asked, with a frown as she ate her rations that weren't too tasty. Yeah, he has a real axe to grind against Kumo and the Kinkaku, said Kisame with a grin, as he drummed his fingers against his ordinary blade. About that, in the Battle of Osaka, I witnessed something strange. The Kinkaku, they're feared across the world. They even captured Second Mizukage, yet when they saw the commander they pissed their pants and ordered a retreat. The mere thought of fighting him, it scared them to hell, Haku said. Mei tried not to say anything as they were chatting amongst themselves. Majority of them were intrigued or terrified on what the commander passed to have on this mission. She glanced at Mainjutsu as he was looking outside where the commander had gone out to scout. Most of you cannot understand what the commander has lost unless you step into his shoes, said Mainjutsu. What do you mean? Asked Jinpachi. It's his destiny to fight against the arch rivals of his clan. Because of them, he's the last Namikaze in this world, said Minjutsu. Me want to know what this was about. Min did not know about Namikaze clan, but there was rumors that one of the members was one of the strongest ninja in the Elemental Nation until the clan was wiped out. A start in a clan war era. Men knew about the Senjus and Uchiha battle, but not men know that two other clans were clashing at that time as well. Both of them were feared for their speed and power, while the richer nations higher. The Senjus and the Uchihas to secure their interests. The smaller nations higher the Namikaze and Kaizen clan, said Minjutsu. Kaizen clan? I'm afraid I've never heard of them, said Zabuza. I'm not surprised. They gave up their clan name when they joined Land of Lightning. However, what might surprise you, two of their members became Kages. You mean the first and the third Raikage, said Haku. The current Raikage is also a part of the Kaizen clan. The Uchihas and Senjus were known for mass conflict, but not every nation could afford their services. The Namikaze and Kaizen clan were feared for their speed. They weren't really a match for the two other clans, but they had some of the finest Black Ops shinobis in the world. While the Uchihas and Senju fought in the light, Namikaze and the Kaizen clan fought in the shadows for their respective clans. But as the war dragged down, their numbers started to dwindle due to the endless conflicts. It came to an end when the Uchihas and Senju formed an alliance, and other clans joined other factions. This is where the Namikaze clan made a critical mistake, said Minjutsu. What mistake? Asked Kisame. They had offers from Land of Lightning and Land of Fire to join their new hidden villages, but they valued their independence. They did not believe in a new world that was being formed around them, while Land of Fire was interested to make them a part of their village. They respected their wishes and signed a non-aggressive pact, but the Land of Lightning did not take this kindly. They assimilated the Kaizen clan into a newly formed Kumo. The Raikage, who was from the Kaizen clan, had the backing now from Daimyo, and they sent a strike to wipe out the entire Namikaze clan with their numbers. But for every Namikaze that was killed, 3 men from Land of Lightning died as well, but they had no allies. So they were overwhelmed and wiped out. No wonder he hated Kumo so much, Haku said, as she couldn't think about her being the last member of her clan. Whatever the case is, I had never seen an Anvu Black Ops mission like this. I know Anvus are strong, but what we just did, whispered Kisame as he remembered suicidal jump from the skies. I thought I was done for back there, said Zabuza. It really wouldn't have been funny if things didn't go on as planned, said Jinpachi. That just proves we need to believe in him, said Minjutsu. That's too much fate, Minjutsu, warned Imura with a frown. It's true that his personal vendetta is arrested in this mission, but for all his faults, he's a fine commander. Has he let us down till now? Silence fell on the group. Even now, he was risking his life for his people, and they could not deny that. But guys, be in episode right here. If you want the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm over for now. See you guys soon. Peace.